Hey guys, can you hear me? उसका रोटेशन ऊपर नीचे कर दो. Hi guys, can you hear me? Okay, all right. Just 1 minute. All right. Hello everyone. Hi Venkat. Hi Mad Dog. I don't know what's your real name. All right. Vakil Ahmed. Good evening, guys. Good evening. Good evening. Do you see my video as well? Hi Sri Ram. Hi Shiva. Hi Sitaram. Hi Ritesh. Good evening, guys. Good evening. Good evening. We'll just wait for 5 more minutes and see who all can join, and then we'll start the live stream. Okay. I hope you all have VMware installed now, and the ISO image that I asked you to download, the Windows Server 2019 ISO image. Hi Kaushik. Hi Kudus. Hi Venkat. Guys, please ensure that you have VMware installed, either version 15, 16, or 17. And then the Windows Server 2019 license. I'm sorry, Windows Server 19 ISO. I shared the links as well. Make sure that you have downloaded that. Yeah, I can see your chat as well. So anything you want to add up, just put that in the chat in YouTube or on the Telegram, so I can see the message, because there'll be a lot of to and fro conversations happening. A lot of tasks that I'll be doing. I'll be asking if you have done that or not. Just confirm that on the YouTube Lab chat at least, or on the Telegram chat. Hi Kaushik, who's that? Perfect. Just 2 more minutes and then we'll start. Hi Vakil. Hi Ahmed. I don't know how to say what's your first name. Vakil, Mohammed, Ahmed, Hashmi. Sorry guys, I'm very bad with the name, so just let me or correct me. I apologize if I spell out or mispronounce your name incorrectly. Really sorry about that. I'm just gonna drop a final reminder on the chat. I see 20 people have joined out of approximately 250. I don't know if the interest is lacking or the intent, but that's fine. We will, yeah, we will start. Hi Swashini. Hi Vignesh. All right, guys, I am going to start the session now. So, step one, I assume you all have VMware installed by now. Please open the VMware. I'm going to start my screen share as well, so you see what I'm doing. I'm going to say that on the video as well. So, if you don't miss out something, just rewind the session, go back in the stream, and then you can also see that. Then, or note down the instruction that I put up in the YouTube chat as well. Okay. Step one, let me first open my VMware. It's opening. Just 1 minute. Okay. Let me know if you can see my screen. Anyone who has issues with the video, if they're not able to see either my face, I mean my camera, or my VMware, I mean my VMware screen that is shared on this stream, um, just drop from the stream and join back again. All right. So why are we using VMware? The primary purpose is to create a lab environment. Um, the intent of today's session is to set up a small infrastructure as if you are building your own company, your own data center, wherein you will set up Active Directory, and then you will configure, basically adding Windows Server, then promoting the server to a domain controller by means of installing Active Directory, and then promoting the server to Active Directory, and then just going through a lot of functions within Active Directory, like Active Directory users and computers, DNS management, domains and trust. We will talk about each topic as and when we go and we proceed. Okay. First, I need you to click on File in VMware, then go to New Virtual Machine, click on Next. Um, have VMware version 17.5. You guys might have VMware version 16 or 15. That doesn't matter as long as you have it installed. Then click on the next step. You might be getting a prompt over here that you need to select the installer disk. Now, what's happening is we are using VMware to set up a lab within our workstation itself. We are using Intel virtualization technology or AMD virtualization technology, wherein this machine that you have is working as a host, right, on which you will be installing your lab environment. You're configuring the entire network and server infrastructure within this VMware as a lab, assuming it is a small subset of environment. This is just to give you a basic idea about how Active Directory is set up, how an infrastructure is set up, how or what are the moving parts within the infrastructure, like Active Directory, your DHCP, DNS, and how Active Directory is managed as part of identity and management solution within a Microsoft infrastructure. So in this section where you see new virtual machine wizard, it says installer disk image ISO. Click on browse and go to the location where you downloaded your Windows 2019 server ISO. So I think I may have it in my downloads over here. Um, So I selected my ISO file, the Windows Server 2019, right? VMware will automatically detect your ISO file. So if you select Windows Server 2016 or Windows client like Windows 7, Windows 10, Windows 11, the basis the ISO file, VMware will automatically detect that which version of Windows or operating system you are going to install. I hope I'm clear up to here. We will move on to the next step. Click on next. Then it asks you for a Windows product key, but because this is a lab environment, we are not going to provide a license key. This is a testing and evaluation phase only, not a actual real environment, so we will not select that. Now it tells me which version of Windows to install. There are two versions, or you can say types of Server 2019. Similarly for 2016, similarly for 2012 R2. So basically, Windows servers were started in the year 2000, then 2003, 2008, 2012, 16, and 19. We are going with the latest minus one. Latest is 2022. We're going to go with 2019 Windows Server. It has two versions: standard and data center. Data center is something which is used in a bigger organization, or wherein the server is used for multi-purpose. Standard is where you use it for a specific task, or let's say less load level, or you can say that it is used for a dedicated set of application. It is not bind to it is not going to run multiple applications on it. I would prefer to go with data center. In this case, we'll select Windows Data Center Core. Now, this full name that you see over here, this is your username, which will be created once the machine boots up. Basically, once the server is installed, this is going to be your username, and you can specify a password. So choose a username of your own choice, like your first name dot last name, and then give it a password. Once you have given the username and the password twice, as in password, and then you confirm the password once again, then you click on next. Now it is going to tell you what is going to be your virtual machine name. This is like the host name or the computer name or the server name that is going to be created. Then you specify the location where this virtual machine would be installed on your local computer, right? Select a dedicated location on your computer, like a specific drive or a specific folder wherein this virtual machine would be installed. Okay. I'm gonna add an additional disk because I have an external hard drive where I install my virtual machine. So give me like 10 seconds. Let me attach that so I can select the desired location. You can choose to select the location on your PC if you don't have an external hard drive. So my external hard drive is attached. I'm going to click on browse, and then I am going to select the location where my hard drive would be. I'm sorry, my virtual machine would be stored or placed. This is my storage. Similarly, you will be able to see that on your computer. I select a desired folder where this machine would be installed. I click on OK. Now you see it can specify what location this machine is going to be stored. Then you specify the machine name. This will be the server machine name. Name it to your choice. Guys, can you see my screen? Okay. Let me read. Let me know if you can. Is my screen visible now, guys? Guys, please respond. Yes, no, maybe. Do you see this new virtual machine wizard? Anyone? Yep. Perfect. I hope it is visible for all. So I'm just gonna reiterate the steps again. So basically, this is your VMware workstation. We are going to use VMware as if we are installing a production environment in a lab as in a lab, wherein in a small set of testing purpose, we can create an environment. Purpose is to install Windows Server. Windows Server are of different versions like Windows Server 2003, 2008, 12, 16, 19, 22. The latest is 22. In this lab environment, we are going to install a Windows Server 2019 in every infrastructure environment. Yeah, Tanvi, wait. I'll explain. So in every infrastructure environment, we have servers, we have client machines, and then we have network. It's called as a three-way handshake. Now we'll go to the step one. We'll go to file. We'll go to new virtual machine, and then this gives you the wizard wherein you have the option of adding a new virtual machine or installing a new virtual machine. Virtual machine can be a Windows server, can be a workgroup machine, can be your client machines like Windows 7, 10, and 11 as well. These will be used as a virtual machine. These are actually not machines, but yeah, they are going to use the hardware of your local PC, like your processor, motherboard, and your hard disk and your RAM that will be shared across the virtual machines. We're going to use custom option, the first step in new virtual machine wizard, and then we click on next. I have a VMware workstation 17.5x, but that is not a problem. You have 15, 16, 17, whatever version you have, it will still work. Then we go to the next step. Here you have to select the ISO file. So we have chosen to go with we are choosing to go with the Windows Server 2019 in this case, which is latest -1. Latest is 2002. The previous version of was 2019. So click on the browse option under the installer disk image file option. Click on browse, and then go to the location where you downloaded your ISO file for Windows Server 2019. Select the file and then click on open. Then VMware will automatically detect uh, the type of operating system that you have, and based on that will tell you what version of Windows Server or client that is going to be installed. Guys, if you have issues with, because I'm using a 1080 pixel stream, you can go to the full screen mode, and then probably you will have a better vision of what I'm doing on my screen. I think steps are looking a little too small, so just do that. Then once the VMware, so if Saki, if your ISO is not being detected in VMware, it means that the ISO is either corrupt or it is not downloaded properly. Are you guys seeing the same screen that I get? Server 2019 detected by your VMware? Can anyone please respond? Is bad, or What's happening? Okay. Is your network bad or my network bad? I'm on a 500 Mbps connection. Okay. So we'll move on to the next step, wherein the server is detected. For those who are having issues with detection problem, understand that the ISO is either corrupt. The Windows Server 2019 file that you download, it is either correct, or it is in a way, somehow it is corrupt or it is not detected. So just download the file again. Then click on next. Now we are not going to choose the server license key because it's a lab environment. Then we see we'll see what all options we have, like the versions. So in 2019 we have two types of version: standard and data center. Every Windows Server version used to come with a specific set of version that had different set of features available within it. In the latest versions of Windows, we have, Windows servers, we have standard and data center only. Data center is a version of server wherein there are multiple applications, or you can say it is for heavy tasks or multiple tasks. Standard is something wherein you have only one set of application running or dedicated for a specific task only. You can assume as if data center is for high workload and standard is for low workloads. Then in the next tab, you see personalized Windows. It says it is going to be your username, which um, you're going to use for logging on to the computer, the server that's going to be installed. So specify username and then a password. Once you do that, click on the next step. Now specify the name of the machine as if it was your local machine. Then specify the location where this virtual machine would be installed. So specify a folder on your hard drive or on a specific drive on your machine where this server would be installed. Specify the folder and then click on OK. In the next screen, once you select that, you should see the virtual machine name that you have specified and the location of the virtual machine where it will be installed. Do mind that this virtual machine is going to use your local hard drive. So whatever the hard drive space or hard drive usage you specify in the next steps, that is going to be consumed from your local drive. So at least have 40-50 GB of available space on your local hard drive as well. Also, it's going to use your RAM. So assume if you have 8 GB of RAM, we're going to specify 2 gigabytes of RAM for this virtual machine or the server. So that virtual machine is going to consume that much of RAM that you specify from your local RAM itself. That is your local laptop or desktop if you have. In the next step, click on next. Then it is going to ask you for the type of boot. In the modern devices use UEFI, the secure boot like Windows 11 and Windows Server 2019, or the newer versions that are going to be rolled out. Older versions like up to Core i3, if your processor does not support UEFI, it will be BIOS. Pretty much it is going to run on BIOS as well if you have an older laptop or a older hard drive or an older processor. But those who have modern generation or anyone who has i5 and above, choose the UEFI secure boot option. Make sure that the secure boot option is selected and then click on next. Now in the next screen, you will specify the processor configuration for your server or your virtual machine. General default configuration will be 2 processor and number of cores per processor would be 1, which means total processor cores that will be used will be 2. That means that number of cores that you already have on your local host are going to be consumed by, the number of processors that you specify over here would be consumed by the virtual machine from your local host configuration. Now, if you see my screen, I have opened my task manager. In my task manager, you can clearly see there are different processes running. Then if I go to my performance section, I select my CPU, that is my processor. You will see I have an i7 processor that has 4 cores, and it has 2 logical processor, which means 2 threads per core, which means total of 8 processors it can consume. Now, out of these 8 processors, I'm going to use two, which is going to be in a shared mode between my local laptop and the virtual machine that is going to be installed. Uh, I'm going to use 2 processors and 2 cores per processor, which means a total of 4 processor cores would be used out of the 8 that I have on my laptop. For you guys, if you have, if in the task manager in the CPU section you see number of cores as 2, then specify 1 core for your virtual machine. If you have 4 cores, then specify 2 cores for your virtual machine. This configuration can be changed later on as well. Initially, when you want to fasten up the process of installation, make sure you select 2 cores and 2 threads or 2 cores per processor, which means a total of 4 processor cores would be used for installing this virtual machine. Then select on next. Then it's going to ask the memory of the virtual machine. I'll go back to my task manager. As you can see, I have 32 gigabytes of RAM on my laptop. In case if you have 8 GB of RAM, specify 2 GB for this virtual machine. In case if you have 12 or 16 GB of RAM, specify 4 GB for this virtual machine. In case if you have more than 16 gigabytes of RAM, specify 4 GB for this virtual machine only. Again, this configuration can be changed later on as well. Once you install the machine and you don't just need it for a specific purpose or test, because this is a lab environment, you don't need a lot of RAM for this machine, only for installation purpose, so that the installation procedure can be reduced, or the time that takes to install this virtual machine can be reduced. Specify a higher RAM. Once the installation is done, the machine is up and running and the server is configured, you can reduce this virtual machine RAM, storage, whatever you want to. You can do that later on as well. But for the first step, specify 4 gigabytes of RAM if you have more than 8 GB RAM on your local machine. If you have 8 GB or less RAM on your local machine, specify only 2 gigabytes, which is 2048 MB of RAM for this virtual machine. Then select next. We are going to talk about this networking feature in one of the future videos, or I'll create a separate session for that. What is bridge networking? What is network address translation? Use host only networking. Do not use a network connection. Basically, the bridge networking means that this virtual machine that is going to be installed on your laptop will have a direct access to internet rather than using the internet from your host. So the router that you have at your home provides internet connection to your host, that's your laptop, and then your host has virtual machine installed over it. So instead of using the internet or using the shared internet from your local host, this virtual machine is going to be directly connected to your network. Should you use the bridge networking option? The second option that says network address translation, that means that this host machine, or you can say the virtual machine that you're going to install in VMware, it is going to use the internet on the local host, which is your laptop. It will not be directly connected to your router. Instead, it will use the internet that's provided on your local host as a shared internet connection. That's called as NATing, network address translation. Third option is not used generally, but the definition for that is that the guest operating system, the VMware machine that you will have, it will be connected to a private virtual network. It's like a VPN connection, a specified shared connection between your local host and your VMware. We are not going to use that. Let's not go in that direction. But please select network address translation in the next step and then click on next. By default, I have the option of LSI logic, which is the recommended for VMware. If you see, there are 4 options. 3 of them might have been grayed out. Some of you may still be able to see that in case you download the wrong ISO. Windows Server comes in 64-bit operating system. There are two types of operating system in Microsoft: 32-bit and 64-bit. Bus logic is not available for 64-bit. LSA logic is not supported by Windows Server 2019. It used to be supported till Windows Server 2012, but not anymore by 2016 or the higher versions of Windows. LSI logic is recommended, and hence we will select that. Let's click on next. Now, depending upon your local hard drive type, it will give you the option over here. It is recommended to have NVMe. The short form for that is SSD, solid state drives that are used in the modern laptops. In case you don't have an SSD based laptop, you can choose SCSI. If you have SSD based laptop, which means you have SSD on your laptop, please select NVMe. In case you don't have SSD, you're using an older version of Windows or an older laptop which has SCSI hard drive, the older hard drives are used to be, please select SCSI. Recommended people should use NVMe. Then select next. Now it says create a new virtual disk, use an existing virtual disk, use a physical disk. Now, once you select next, it will automatically create a virtual disk, like it is using your virtual processor, it is using your virtual RAM. Similarly, it is going to use your some part of your local hard drive as a virtual disk. Should you have an additional existing virtual drive? So I asked you guys to download the ISO, not the hard drive of it, because it's going to consume a lot of storage and space and bandwidth for you, which is why we are going to use the new virtual disk option, which means it is going to use some part of your hard drive on your local machine that will be specified in the next steps. So select create a new virtual disk and then select next. Now over here, you will specify the size of the virtual disk. I would recommend you use 40 gigabytes at maximum because it's a test environment, it's a lab environment. We are not going to go with a higher size. We are not doing any production work. We are not doing any testing. It is just for reference and lab environment purpose. So we'll select 40 gigabytes only. Then you have two options. Either you split the virtual disk into multiple files, or you have the option to store the virtual disk as a single file. I'll show you an example over here. I do have a lot of virtual machines with me, so I can show you. Over here, you can see there are multiple virtual disk files, right? I specified the option of splitting the virtual disk into multiple files. That makes that ensures there is better performance on your VMware rather than choosing to specify just one single file of a hard drive. Again, it's your choice. If you have a very high performance laptop or machine, you can specify the uh, using the single file instead of multiple split file. In this lab environment for testing purpose, we will only use split virtual disk into multiple files and then click on next. And guys, think you guys are saying something in the chat. What's happening? Guys, if you have missed any step, go back in the live stream and then watch that step again, right? I'm gonna wait 2 minutes in case you guys need some time. But if you have issues with the any step that you missed, go back, like drag the scroller in the guys who are asking for the recording. This is a YouTube live stream. It will be publicly available, so you don't need to ask for the recording. It will always be available. Okay. Then the disk name over here, it will in the next step, once you in the previous step you selected the size of the disk, then you select next. Over here you specify the name of the file, right? It is going to tell you what file name you want to choose. I have specified the same name. I mean, by default, it will use the same name that you specified for the machine. In case you want to choose to rename that, you can choose to do that. Recommended is that you don't change it. Then select next. Now, in the last step, it will tell you what all options you have chosen, like what is the name of your machine, domain controller I've specified, the location where it will be installed, the version, the operating system that will be installed, the hard drive size, the memory, the network adapter that will be used, and how many cores, or you can say the hardware that is going to be adapted towards it. Should you choose to change any hardware before clicking on finish, you can select the customize hardware option. And over here, you can specify and change that again. But if you select next or finish after this, you can't change that until or unless your virtual machine is created. Either you stop the operation, shut down the machine, and then configure it again, or you make the right step over here and click on finish. As soon as you click on finish, this option was checked, power on this virtual machine. The machine is going to be created. It will start as if it is starting the powering on the virtual machine. So in this case, localhost is the power, and then it's going to power on your virtual machine. It is same like as if you're installing any uh, machine on your computer. You specify the file, you start the installation process. It's going to load the ISO in your bootable memory of the virtual machine, and then you see it's going to start the installation process. Meanwhile, while it is installing, if you have any questions, please specify that in the chat or in the Telegram group. While it is installing, I can answer questions if you have any on the chat. I'm going to stop the screen share for a couple of minutes so I can answer your questions. I hope you drop recorded section after this class for better understanding. Yes, Mr. Mubarak, it's a live stream. It will be publicly available, so you can access it whenever you want to. Although the expectation was and given clear in advance 2044 that have the VMware installed, downloaded, and the ISO files ready. So make sure that you are ready next time the live stream is done, because eventually, if you're not, it is a live session, right? It's a live practical. So as and when you do it, you learn better rather than going through the recorded session over YouTube. Anyone can do the recorded session, but live streams are a way wherein it can collaborate and help people directly as well as on a real-time basis. I can see loading wheel on my screen. Sitaram, are you all good? I couldn't see a message earlier, so sorry about that. Ajit Prasad, okay, for those screen is lagging, please drop and join again. It works. Yes, Ajit, that's correct. It may be a problem because live streams consume a lot of bandwidth on the internet, and hence make sure you have a good internet connection while joining the session, or in case there is a lag, stop and join again the live stream. Then please, sir, help us record it so that we can go back to it. Oluwasein, as I said, this is a live stream. It's recorded. It will be publicly available. Don't worry about that. Can you go, uh, Mr. or Miss Uka Jinikachi? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Steps. I'm here. I'm on pause right now. You can go back in the stream and look at the steps what I specified, and then you can follow the steps and come back over here. I don't have an issue with this live stream and your explanations are clear, but I have not downloaded the VMware, so please help with the recording. Well, that was the expectation always in that you have VMware installed, but that's fine. You can always go and check the recording as well. Perfect, Sitaram. I'm glad that you're able to see. Please answer. Can we install domain controller and exchange on one VM? Is it possible, or there is any risk? Yes, you can install domain controller and exchange. Technical aspect of is that you can install exchange on an active directory server, but it is not recommended for security reasons. I understand the background behind that. Why do you want to install exchange on the AD? Because probably you have less capacity of RAM or storage or number of cores or processor on your local host. So, but for lab testing purpose, yes, you can install exchange on AD. There is no limitation on that. Recommended is that you have separate. We'll talk about Exchange once we conduct the Exchange live session. So let's not go over there. Today is dedicated towards VMware, Windows Server installation, domain controller, and Active Directory. I hope you all have started the VMware installation. I assume just mention yes in the YouTube chat so that I know that you are able to follow the steps that I'm sharing with you guys. All right, guys, I'm proceeding with the next steps now. Uh, I'm going to start sharing again. So this is the first screen that you see after your ISO boots in your VMware. It is as if it is you're installing it on your local machine itself. Like you guys might have done some client or server installation before. It is just like the VMware as well. Now, do not proceed until I ask you to. There are two types of operating system, or you can say visual base. Either you can control your servers or manage your server as an administrator through PowerShell. That is called as a server core. And then with visual or GUI, taskbar, start menu, and all those options, wherein you can see the applications visually, that is called as a desktop experience. In our case, we're going to select data center evaluation with desktop experience option, and then we select next. After a few steps, it should give you the option for next steps of installation. Right. You may get this error wherein it says Windows cannot find the Microsoft software license terms. Make sure that the installation sources are valid and restart the installation. Basically, this means that you have a floppy drive enabled. Floppy, as in long time back, you might have heard about floppy drives before the evolution of CD drives and then your other storage devices. So click on OK over here. The machine is going to restart after that. Make sure that you select the machine, right click on that, go to settings. In the virtual machine settings, you will see the option wherein you can disable the floppy drive. Right. If you see on the screen, it shows floppy, it is connected. I'm going to disconnect that. I'm going to click on OK. Now I'm going to right click on the machine again. Select, right click on the machine again, select power, and then click on restart gets. If it is not starting, if it restarts, great. Boot the CD again, just like you did 5 minutes back. In case your machine has not booted, right click the machine, select power, and then click on restart guest. I hope my screen is visible so you can see that. In case it does, it's great. Just start the installation. I mean, boot the drive, the ISO file in your VMware. If in case you're getting a BIOS screen on your Windows server, select the SCSD option or the hard drive option in the blue screen of BIOS that you're getting. The first option that says, or you might be seeing the ISO or the CD or DVD drive option in your BIOS. I think it will be the first priority is generally hard disk, but because the machine is not yet installed, select the ISO or the CD drive option in the BIOS section of your VM. Now you see, I'm not getting any error. Now I'm going to start the installation process. I'm going to stop this for a second, guys. Jesus, man. Now I'm going to answer questions if you have any. It's asking to choose VM host. Chinmay, I'm having problem in downloading. Can you help? Abhirami, what issue you're having in downloading the VMware 15 or VMware 17? Because I shared the link of both in the Telegram group. If you've just joined, you can check the history of the group and you'll have the link and you can download it from there. There are options available to download. Chinmay, sir, I had filled the Microsoft form. I got your emails for the video which you upload on YouTube, but from where to know when you are conducting the live session? Chinmay, you need to join the group. That's where I post all the status updates, any kind of events, including live or Q&As. Everything is there in the group. Just join the group and you'll see all the settings and all the options. Mad Dog, thank you. You're welcome. It's asking to choose VM operating system. Which one I need to choose? Like standard evaluation. Mad Dog, you need to select data center evaluation option in the VMware. Go back to the recording. Go back to the stream. You'll see that option. I'll be right back, guys, in 30 seconds. I'm just gonna have some water. I'll be right back in 30 seconds. Please be here. All right, guys, I am back. Sorry. Now I'm gonna start sharing my screen again. Let me know if you see that. So Ashni, if it is showing EFI network option, select EFI option only. Now in the boot screen, if you can see my screen, you will be able to see data center evaluation option. Make sure that you choose desktop experience. I repeat, make sure you choose desktop experience. It doesn't matter if you choose standard evaluation or data center. Preferred is data center. However, please choose desktop experience. Now select next. Accept the license agreement. Click on next. Click on the custom option. You're not upgrading your operating system, you're installing a fresh operating system on this machine. Hence, choose custom option, install Windows only. Then it will show you the disk that is allocated. If you remember a few steps back in the VMware, we specified the hard drive, the virtual hard drive that will be consumed from your local hard drive, which is available to this virtual machine. I selected the option 40 gigabytes. I hope you have selected at least 40 gigabytes, and then select next. Now it is going to install as if it was installing any operating system that you install on your local PC. It is going to install that on the virtual machine that you have specified. It's going to take around 10 to 15 minutes or 20 minutes, basis the RAM that you available or the type of processor you have, and then it is going to proceed with the installation. It's going to complete the installation. I'm going to answer questions for guys who have issues. I'm going to stop sharing now for a few minutes. Chinmay, from where to join the group? Chinmay, you must have received an email from M365 Batch 1 administrator. It has all the instructions wherein how you can join the group, attend the sessions live and all that. Because if you're not in the group, you will probably miss out on the status updates about the videos or the sessions that are uploaded, including live sessions as well. And any kind of QAs can be answered in that group. I have made the group open so that anyone can post, and um, all the questions and answers would be there in that. Please join the group first. In case you have not received the email, please mention on this chat so I can send you the email. Anyone with questions up until now, please ask. Saki, you said you have issues got fixed after upgrading to Windows 1. Great. Shiva, you mentioned that after disconnecting the floppy, you're getting the below error. There is Shiva. After disconnecting the floppy, I get the below error. Yeah, need to select. You need to press any button when it says press any key to boot from CD or 2, so that your operating system boots from the ISO image that you downloaded for Windows Server 2019. Ahmed, this host supports Intel VTX, but Intel VTX is disabled. Ahmed, you need to enable Intel virtualization technology, that is Intel VT, from your BIOS. Uh, basis the manufacturer of your laptop, maybe HP, think, or Lenovo or Dell. There are different set of options, but you need to go into your BIOS to enable Intel virtualization technology. If you mention the manufacturer name in Telegram group, Ahmed Salahuddin, I will share the steps on how you can enable the Intel VT on your laptop. Anyone else who has questions? Should we proceed, or are there any more questions? Chinmay, can you mention your email address in the chat, or can you? Uh, how do I contact you? uh, Guys, you all have my number over WhatsApp and Telegram. If you have issues that you're not able to reach on the group, you can mention that. I'm just gonna add the link of Telegram group over here so you can join. Just 1 second. The prompts are different for me. I have to search around to find where I can find specific settings. Merit, I'm sorry, what's your name? Yours truly, Merit. Can you specify the exact error you're getting? Either in this chat or on the Telegram group. I'm glad, Shiva, it is working for you. Just make sure that you catch up with the steps. My Windows server, it is up to 21% ready. I mean, the files that are installed are 21% ready. Depending upon your processor or the RAM that you allocate in the initial steps of VMware, when you create the virtual machine, your status for the VM installation could be higher or lower compared to what I see on my screen. Saki, please disable floppy drive. Go back in stream, you will see the option. I see barely 10 people who are on the live stream. I mean, are you guys having issues with connection, network, or are you dependent on the recording? I mean, If that works for you, great. I mean, the intent of this live session was to do it on live. When I do it, you do it, so you learn it better. You can ask questions because if you watch the recorded sessions, probably you'll have a lot of questions. I may not be able to answer all, and then gets delayed for you, and you'll not be able to grab the raw information that's being passed on in the live sessions. That's the intent of the live session. It is not really an error, but the prompts when configuring the VM does not show up the same way as yours, like the VM wizard where you set up the memory NAT, etc. I cannot find that wizard. Merita, can you share the error in the group? Olu was saying, I have mine done on Hyper-V. Is that okay? Yes, yes, absolutely. You can use Hyper-V, you can use VMware, whatever virtualization solution you want to deploy, you can use that. VMware is easy to use, that's why I prefer that. However, you can use Hyper-V as well. That's not a problem. As long as you're able to achieve what is the intent or the goal, like installing the server, promoting the server to a domain controller, configuring static IPs, configuring DNS, and all these steps after that, we are good to go as long as you're able to access the virtual machine. Shall we resume, guys? Your VM installation has started. Guys who are delayed in joining, or coming back from church, especially people from Nigeria or outside of India, we are continuing the session with breaks and pauses so that I can answer your questions as and when we go. So we can address the issue so that we all are on the same page. It's absolutely fine if you have just joined the stream, but make sure that you have started from the beginning, catch up on the steps that are shared, and then you'll catch up. That's fine. It's not a big session, it's something for your best, you know, requirement or in your best interest. Operating system name Windows 11 Home. Core i5. Who's that? Can we see the BIOS manufacturer here? Ahmed. It's clearly written HP. Suhasini, select the third option, EFI VMware Virtual SATA CD-ROM drive. The error that you have seen, it's actually not the error, it's giving you different boot options. You need to boot from your CD. I'm seeing this error. I can't continue the steps. Please help. Who's that? Shreyas. No, not Shreyas. Who's that? Gini Kachi Uka. Ginny, I believe the ISO that you downloaded, it is corrupt. It is not downloaded properly. So you need to download that ISO file again, the Windows Server 2019 image. Please download it again because others are not having issue, including myself. Yes, so that is Shreyas. Shreyas, it is installing. Just wait for it. As I said, and that's not for Shreyas, but it is for everyone. Depending upon your local host, if it is an i3, it's going to take more time compared to an i5. If you have an i5, it's going to take more time compared to an i7. The better the processor or the laptop you have, the faster the VM installs or the configuration. So mine is at 53% now. I'm just going to share you guys. Mine is a little slow compared to others because I have a lot of things that are running, including the live stream itself, and which is why the performance gets slightly degraded compared to you guys. Although yeah, 32 gigabytes of RAM, I dedicated 4 GB of RAM for this specific virtual machine. I have an i7 processor, but even though um, I have that high performance, it is taking time because I have a lot of things running on my laptop that I'm streaming through right now. See my task manager, my CPU usage is 63%, right? And then memory consumption is 15 gigabytes. There are a lot of processors which are consuming high usage of memory, including Google Chrome, Telegram, VMware, WhatsApp, a lot of things running, which is why it's taking time. However, the installation is at 61%. I think it should complete in the next 5 to 7 minutes. I'm still available to answer any questions for guys who have just joined in. Please watch the stream. I'm ready to, you know, answer your questions if you're having any issues with. I'm going to stop the screen share for a few minutes so I can answer your questions. Saki, you're right. If so, guys, there may be incompatibility issues on your machine. In case you're using Windows 10, you may be able to install VMware 15 and it will be compatible and works fine. However, if you have Windows 11, please make sure, guys who have Windows 11, please make sure you download the VM17 option. Shreyas, you are at the screen. Great, absolutely fine. Now, wait for my instructions. You are too far ahead, Shreyas. Let other people catch up so that we are all on the same page. I know waiting does not help, uh, especially who has already progressed in the next steps, who got their VMs installed. However, let's wait for others to catch up. The intent here is to ensure that everyone gets the information and not specific to one person. So let's play it. All right. I appreciate if you are waiting. I see 22 people now. I guess people are joining back. Great. My VM installation is at 87% now. As soon as it is 100%, I'll start sharing the screen again, and then we will move on to the next steps. I'll just wait for another 2 minutes for to answer any questions if you have challenges with the VMware installation or the Windows installation in the VMware. Anyone who has joined the channel, some people are complaining in DM that they're not able to chat, ping messages in the YouTube live chat. Guys, you need to subscribe the channel first and wait for 1 minute, and then you'll be able to mention or comment or use the chat section of the YouTube. You need to be a subscriber to be able to put in messages in the YouTube chat. All right, my installation is at 95% now. I will start sharing my screen. I still have 1 more minute of time, so I can answer any questions over Telegram or YouTube chat. Great, Saki. It is completed. So let's wait. Saki, for you, just wait for a minute. Let others catch up as well. All right, guys, I'm going to start my screen sharing again. The installation is at 97%. Should complete any second. I'll be right back, guys. Just 1 minute, okay? While it is just completing, I'll be right back in 1 minute. Please be here. Alright, guys, I'm back. Some people are complaining they're not able to see my screen. Can you see it now? Guys, can you see my video or my screen share now? Guys, can you hear me? Okay. Can you see my screen? Guys, are you able to hear? And can you see my video and my screen share? Please reply on the chat or on YouTube chat, please. Perfect. All right. As you can see my screen, my server installation is almost done. The next step would be to configure the network on this Windows server and the DNS connections so that we made the prerequisite. Prerequisite is something, the steps which are required to configure a specific service. The next step is to promote this server as a domain controller. Now, guys, what is domain controller? Domain controller is a server which manages the entire identity management and access management. So, in short, IAM, identity and access management within an infrastructure. It is like the heartbeat of the infrastructure. If your domain controller is down or not reachable or it has issues with something, um, your organization is in for a lot of trouble, which means the identity management, the authentications will not work. When we promote a server to a domain controller, it basically means that you're installing Active Directory. Active Directory is the central management tool or feature within a Windows server that enables an IT admin or a domain administrator to manage the resources, users, workstations, and computers centrally from one console. So, let's say if my organization is placed in four different geographical regions, or it is based out of multiple locations worldwide, I can centrally manage as an administrator. I can centrally manage users. Let's say I'm based out of US and the user is based out of Australia. I will be able to manage that user's identity and access. That includes like resetting their password, management, or the access of their account to different resources. That is done using Active Directory. The first step of Active Directory, or it has multiple roles, you can say it is Active Directory domain services, which we are starting with now. Over here, if you see my screen, I'm going to enter my password as specified at the time of installing this virtual machine. I'm going to finish, and then it is going to finalize my settings for the server. In few steps, I will be able to see the first screen on my Windows server. At this moment, it is just a Windows server, no Active Directory, no infrastructure right now. There are a lot of steps after server installation, like setting up IP, DNS, subnetting, gateway address, um, that are minimum prerequisite for installing Active Directory. Every domain control will have a static IP address. If you remember in the session 1 and session 2, I told you that what are static IPs or dynamic IPs. For this specific machine, when you have a domain controller being promoted, like a Windows server being promoted to a domain controller by means of installing Active Directory, uh, that server requires a private IP, or not private IP, I'm sorry, a static IP. Static IP address is required for a domain controller. Just waiting for this finalization of settings. I'm gonna stop the screen share for a few seconds so I can answer questions if anyone has. Yes, able to see my screen. Great, Swasni. Thanks, Ajit. Thanks, Abhay. If there are any questions, I am going to answer that on Telegram as well. Guys, if you have delay or latency in the live session, you can probably select a lower resolution on your in the YouTube video settings. There is an option to reduce the resolution. Like if you want to reduce, you can reduce it to 360 pixels or 480 pixels, although the quality would be little bad, but yes, it will consume less bandwidth and the video stream would be slightly smooth compared to if you're having any difficulty with the streaming, or if it is getting lagged or delayed, or if there is any latency. Just give me 1 second, guys. I need to plug in my charger. My server is still on the finalizing settings. Sorry, it's getting a little delayed. Sorry about that. Anyone still has any issues? People who have joined just now, go back and start the live stream, maybe on a 1x or 2x mode, so that you can catch up with the session. We have not moved much forward. We have just configured our virtual machine, the settings, the drive, and all that. We install the Windows server, and then we are kind of waiting for people to catch up, and also to address any questions that people may be having right now with the VMware or the server installation. However, it is recommended that you watch from the beginning. Should you have missed any part of the session, the recording will always be available on the public internet, on the YouTube as well, so you can go and back in time and watch it in future. Should you're watching this video, maybe in future. My server is still on finalizing the settings, guys. Just bear with me for 1 minute. I see somebody complaining with the video quality and all that. Guys, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not a content creator. I am using all the best resources that I have to provide you the best set of information and knowledge. Uh, the intent has always been to give back to the community rather than taking. The sessions will always be free, and hence I would request you to bear with the the live stream in case if there's any delay or any kind of uh, less quality of video that you were expecting. I'm not a superstar or a Hollywood guy who has fancy tools and graphics in their live stream and sessions. I'm not that person. I'm an IT professional, just like you guys aspire to be or you are. Uh, I'm not here for content creation or I'm not a YouTuber. Sorry. Alright, guys, my server has booted now. I'm gonna start sharing my screen again. Let me know if you can see my screen. All right. This is the first screen that you see. You need to use this button on the top of your VMware. It triggers a control alt delete command, and then you get your login for your Windows. That's your server. Remember, guys, it's just a Windows server right now. Forward that to the latest. Guys, you're able to see my screen? Yes, no, maybe. Okay, let me stop the screen share. Let me start the screen share again. Just 1 minute. All right, can you see my screen? Visible now? All right. So this is the first screen that you see after your servers installed. It's like just like your operating system, how it looks like. Remember, this is just a Windows server right now. The infrastructure has not been configured yet. This login over here, this is a local user login. This is not a company account right now. It is just a local admin account that is created for the first time a machine is created. Enter your password over here, the one that you specified during your VM creation in VMware. Once you enter the password, you should be able to log in. And prepare Windows and remote desktop service, different services that are there in Windows servers. It will start showing up that. For some reason, I don't know why my machine is also slow today. Okay, some other machines are running on my PC, which is why it is consuming a lot of RAM and delaying the performance of my server that I have. I think it should be smooth now. Yeah, CPU is just reduced on my local host, so I guess it should be smooth now. All right, this server is booting now. Let's see how it behaves after this. Yep, it is up now. Once you start your server, once you can see the GUI after the first login, make sure that you right click on your server to settings, and now you don't need the ISO. The work of ISO is done, so make sure that you disconnect your CD-ROM as well. Guys, if you're watching this now, don't disconnect it immediately if you have not yet configured the Windows server. Only after your server has booted, you can see your login screen and you're logged in. Make sure you right click on the machine, go to machine settings or VM settings, go to CD DVD, the CD drive, and uncheck it so that it is no more used. Make sure that your networks are connected and you see internet connection on your server, on your virtual machine, should I say. I don't know why it's taking so much time. I'm gonna add the applications that are running right now. Okay. How is the behavior for you guys? I mean, your VMs are working fine, or are you also having same issues like me? I am just gonna shut down my VM, one that I've just configured for 2 minutes. I'm gonna increase its RAM and processor. Let's see what happens after that. Give me 30 seconds, guys. Meanwhile, on this step, you'll see how I am able to. So right now my VM is shut down. Should I choose to increase or decrease memory or processor cores if needed be, I can do that. But you can only do that once your machine is powered off or shut down. Don't just directly power it off, shut down as if you shut down a normal computer at home or in your office. Over here, you can increase the processor cores, and I'm going to increase the RAM as well. 992. Increase the memory to approximately 9 gigabytes. I'm going to power on the machine now. Let's see how the performance is. So if you see this, just like me, because I disconnected my CD-ROM, it's asking me to what is going to be your boot device. Now it is going to my hard drive. Now that I have my Windows installed, the operating system, so I'm going to select my hard drive in this case. Guys, am I audible and visible? My screen visible? Let me know if there is any problem with that. Okay. Now that I allocated in the machine settings, I've also performance. The higher the processor that you provide to your side, only when of course it is, uh, the better would be the performance of the virtual machine. I'm gonna stop sharing for a few seconds. I'm gonna answer questions. You may be having any issues. Suresh, you need to select yes option, and then who else? Okay, Saki, thanks for confirming. Thanks, Shreyas, for confirming. Guys, I don't know what's going on with my PC. Let me do one thing. Let me restart my machine. I'll be right back in 2-3 minutes. Let me restart my machine. I don't know, something is going on. Probably I have not powered it off for a long time. So let me just restart my machine. I'll be back, joining back in 2 to 3 minutes. You guys just be over here.